Howdy everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'd like to apologize for my lack of uploads. Things have just been hectic, especially with work and many other things, so I apologize for that. But I will do my best to get back on track with this model kit. Last video we painted up the camshaft covers. Put it up there, hopefully not my face. Those parts right there, they look really good. I'm going to take off these clamps here for the engine. Here. Instead of seeing my face, we'll tilt the camera down to the parts. And the engine looks really, really good. Although you do see a little bit of black there. In those spots, I'll take the paintbrush to it in that area. What I also wanted to do was also, I believe I wanted to, yeah. See, I'm trying to also look at the camera myself, but oh, for Pete's sake, I apologize. It's hard to see, but here, let's grab these pliers here from right here all the way that way. I'm gonna paint that flat black. And then I'm also going to take off these parts here that I have painted. Anything I painted here, I'm going to take off and then repaint it just a little bit, especially the ones that have color, such as these two pieces, these two here, those ones. That's 6 parts. The fan blade right here, I won't do that because it's already black underneath. So let's get to it. Let's get this here. Start snipping off some stuff here. Now some of the stuff, it's almost, I like taking the knife. I like to take the knife sometimes and just press down on it. There it is. There's your fan blade right there. Just gonna set all our parts and whatnot off to the side here. I won't do a terribly long video for you guys. I just kind of want to see how all the videos do when I do shorter form videos. I'll still try to get a bunch of work done with these. Come on. There we go. Again, I'll just go in and paint up the spots for those areas. Just going to take our clippers here. There and here. Now, one thing I do remember is that the last video we were talking about car parts and whatnot, and I just remembered it was an exhaust for my truck. The second part that I needed was an exhaust flange gasket, and your exhaust, that whole thing connects to your exhaust manifold, to which both these parts are. These silver parts, those are your exhaust manifold. And usually on my truck, there's it's a long pipe that goes right up to it, and in between there you have a gasket to, I'm just guessing here, to prevent both parts from fusing together. So that was the part I could not remember the name of, but I did later. I think the next day after that video. Well, I would like to say to y'all who are watching, Happy Father's Day. I hope you had a good day. I hope you all had a good day for those of you who still have fathers. I do. Thank you. I thank God for that. I don't show up much. It's because it's a little bit hard for me. I show it in my own way. I show my appreciation in my own way. Just helping them out with tasks and whatnot, or even doing something for him. That could be cleaning out his tool chest, or even cleaning it up. I've done that for him a couple of sometimes. Here's the other part. Here's the belt for the what you'll find in a lot of cars. But I show my love to him in different ways. It's kind of, when it comes to showing your dad love, for me it's doing stuff for him. It's maybe doing something that he wanted to do, he wanted done, and I just do it for him. Like I said, I cleaned out his tool cabinets some time ago. I did that for him, and he appreciated that. That's something that I like doing. I'm not big on elaborate gifts or whatever, or anything for that matter. I cannot. Let's just say, when it comes to writing a card, I don't know where to find the words to write a card. I really don't. And we always write cards for both mom and dad it could be their birthdays, it could be Father's Day, Mother's Day, and it's even harder to write a card for mom. Let's call it our brain is a computer, and let's just say that there were some things that weren't installed at birth. Let's just say that. So I do my best to show my love and appreciation for them. Okay, so we got all our parts cut out here. We won't touch those pieces. You have your belt, your fan blade, your camshaft heads, your camshaft covers. We don't need to touch those. These are the kind of parts that we will touch. But the first thing we'll touch up on is the entire engine block with its transmission with it. Because this whole part right here, right up to here. Let's show it up to the camera. Right up here, where it ends here, this entire thing is your engine block. It's where your oil pan is and everything and all that doo-dah. And then beyond, and then from down here on that way, that is your transmission. It could be an automatic transmission, it could be a manual transmission, that sort of thing. So that's the basics of an engine, basically. And what I want to do is it's a box. Is this a good box? Oh yes. So on the box here, you see that right here it's painted differently. It's got a second paint. That's what I would like to do with this engine here, is just paint from this section right here, if I can turn it, from this section right here all the way over. Black, flat black. I won't be using Tamiya's black or anything. I'm just going to be using flat black. Kind of easier that way. Now, one thing I did do is that I kind of did a test fit. This is the oil pan right here that'll be going on the bottom of the engine. I might just, maybe not, I don't know. I was kind of thinking of covering up, but who knows. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do with that. But for sure, these orange pieces here, just all these pieces right here are going to be painted. So I guess we'll start. I'm going to shake up our flat black here. Now, I don't have any music on right now. I guess I just wanted to go ahead and start a video. Yeah. There's got to be some different brush cleaner for Tamiya's paints. I swear, because Tester's brush cleaner, it does not work with Tamiya's paints. I don't know why. Okay, you can see it. Okay, outline's good. Just take it slow. It's almost easier with Tester's paints. As much as I like Tamiya's spray paint, their other paint, it's when it comes to shaking it up, maybe you just need a different paintbrush or something. I don't know. Okay. Alright, cool. Let's see. I will call that good. And hopefully y'all can see the kind of the placement of the paint, such as where the barrier begins for black, that is. But if you have one of these kits, just take your time, go slow, and use your box to kind of help you out for if you want to do it the same way I am, 2 different colors. And you can paint this engine whatever color you want. You could paint it red. You know, actually, I was watching a guy who likes the old 70s Ford pickups, is that some of those engines were actually painted blue. I believe they were to identify for something else. I think there was a meaning behind it, or maybe they just decided to paint it blue or something. So, I mean, that's something for you guys if you want to do. Paint your trucks, cars, or anything, however you want it, however you want to paint it. I mean, even starships, tanks, anything. As they say, the sky's the limit. Some models that I have seen, they're not model cars, but they're more of accessories. They could be their tool chests, shelves, jacks, pump jacks, just some of those kits. And I have been interested in in them for some time since I first saw them at a Hobby. And I was like, well, I've already got these cars, and I don't want to buy another model kit. But it'd be something off to the side. I kind of want to do everything in order. But maybe I'll sneak something in there, like something different for you guys. Break up the monotony just a little bit. Because I don't want to make it boring for any of you guys. It's not fun when you're bored. Especially me. I've worked for so many years and basically a workaholic at this point. But I've done pretty well. I'm trying to take a little bit more time for vacation. Do some of the stuff that I want to do. Or even just not do anything. And just disconnect myself from work and just leave it all up to the people there working. Because it sucks when you're one of those people who have to help close up. But it's the world we live in. I kind of knew what I signed up for when I said that I could do it. Now it's becoming painful in a lot of ways. It's what you hear from a lot of my generation, at least. It's burnout. It's not just the pay. I mean, the pay is fine, to be honest. It's okay. But it's the work that's involved. It's tiring much of the time. And sometimes there's nobody even in the store and you just want to close up. But you can't. So that's the part that kind of sucks a lot. But we do what we can. I do what I can, at least. It's the one thing about when you grow up doing so much work, you do the best job you can. You're expected of so much. We can do that, but what happens when people depend on you, just you? I mean, sure, they can do the job. It's like, why are people dependent upon me? You've been doing this job too. I apologize for my ranting. If I can take some vacation time, I will. And I will. Alright. Well, that looks pretty good. I do like the contrasting colors on that. It's really, really cool. I don't do that a lot. Mainly I just paint everything the same color. But that's cool. That is really, really cool. I like that. There's some spots that I missed. How long have I been here? Almost 20 minutes. Enjoy. Here I am ranting for 20 minutes. That's a job well done right there. Painting up everything. Okay, I'll take my easy pliers here. Put it right there. Just gonna put them in this one here. We'll just set it off to the side. Okay, we got those two parts. I think we're gonna go with the flat aluminum next. Again, it's easier to clean the brush off. when it's tester's paint. Give me that. At the end here, I will finish up with these parts, and then I'll paint the timing cover. It's orange that it needs. There is a secondary color with it. It is white. It goes on one of the spots. Not sure if it's a an oil filter or something, but it does need white for it. Come here. It is a paper towel. Come here. Alright. Call that good. Switch out paintbrushes here. Oh, where'd it go? Here we go. There we go. Alright, so we have flat aluminum here for the exhaust manifolds. Now, in some spots on the these pieces right here, I did miss a couple of things, but that's fine. Think of it like let's think of it like this way. These were shiny, chrome shiny, but think of the shine, the dirt grain it out, if you will. It's the shine being wiped away. That's why it's like that. So I wasn't able to put it into words last time I tried to explain it, but it's just the shine is going away. Let's go like that. Okay. Call that good. Something as easy as that. Okay. That was so easy. Anything else I want to do? Not really, no. Okay. So again, this won't be a terribly long video for you guys. But the next model I am excited to do is the B25 model. Now that's an Atlantis type model. Now, I have done a little bit of research on that model, just like this one. They both kind of have their own issues when people have built them. Let's use this model. Let's use the Charger as an example. It's got issues with fittings and whatnot of what I've seen, and the B25 has tail heavy problems. So I picked up this Fimo, let me turn the camera around. It's a Fimo or Fimo. I picked this up at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. See, it's Stedler or something. Stetler. I plan to use that in the nose section of the B25 because I've seen other videos. I've even looked up on Reddit and some websites on that model in particular. It is just tail heavy. Now, one thing that inspired me to get that model is the movie Midway. It was released back in 2019. It's a great movie. One guy I do recommend going to watch for a historical review, if you will. Ah, dang it! If I could remember his channel name, I'd put it here. I'd say, but it's a 2-part video: history Buffs, I believe, is the channel name. I could be wrong. He's got a 2-part series for that, talking about the movie. And though the movie, I think in some areas it was kind of historically inaccurate, or some things weren't included. Now again, there's only so much you can fit into a 2-hour movie with Midway. And some things were left out, again, due to time constraints and all that jazz. But it is a really, really good movie. It looks at it from both sides, not only just from like the US and Japan, but also looking at it from it looks at it from the boys at intelligence, the pilots, just what was going on in the background as well for intelligence. And it was, from what I saw from other videos, let's use Call of Duty Vanguard for an example. Someone did a historically, how many inaccuracies could they find in that game, specifically in the Battle of the Midway. Now, what was said in that video, there's a lot of things that is wrong with that game, specifically the Battle of Midway, is that they did not know where the carriers were, and that is the same in this movie. And in his video, part 1 or part 2, that corroborates as well. So you have someone going at the game for like historical inaccuracies, and you have the movie and then someone else talking about it. So you have 3 corroborating things. So it is true in that regard. And back to the B-25 is that in that movie it shows the Doolittle raid scene, and that B-25, that Atlantis kit, I plan to do up as a Doolittle Raider plane. So I hope to do my best in that. Not only just make it look good as a model, but to also to honor those who are no longer here. And some of those men did die in Japanese camps, either by execution or some other way. Not all those men made it home. Doolittle himself made it home, and from what I heard, I can't remember from where, is that the man who taught them how to take off from such a short runway was made an honorary member of the Doolittle Raiders. And the last man of the Raider squad passed away in 2019, which is the same year that the movie came out. So not only is it a model that I want to show to you guys, but it's also a model to honor and respect our veterans from that time period. For their actions, they aren't just called the greatest generation for nothing. They did something that in this day and age is just not there anymore. And that's pride for their country. Well, not only that, is that they wanted a piece of it. It's like they wanted to go after the Japanese. That's why a lot of them signed up. That is why a lot of them lied about their age. They wanted a piece of the action. And this was their chance. And even there was a story of one of them who forged his mother's signature. I do not remember his name. But there's a great movie out there. It's a documentary-esque movie. It's called Something to Stand For. You can find it, I believe, on Angel Studios. And it talks of a young man. It mentions that story, and that story right there. And now there's a few other stories in there as well, but that story of that of that boy lying about his age, forging his mother's signatures. That's what sets the greatest generation, those boys, apart from my generation, the boomer generation, and it's amazing. And I will never, the one thing I will never do is discount them, the sacrifice those men gave in Korea and Vietnam. We know so much more about Vietnam than Korea. I read in a book. It's called. It was kind of known as the Forgotten War, and that's really sad because from what I read, there was really no winners on either side. I can't remember which book. I can see the book. I just don't remember its name, and that's really sad. That it's a forgotten war. And soon, there won't be much of these boys. There won't be anybody left. There's not even a lot of World War II veterans around that much. Even the last member of the Arizona passed away actually just a couple years ago, in the early 20s of 2000. I think, I don't remember. I wrote a report on the Arizona. The report's sitting upstairs in my room. It's like, there's not many of these guys left. And for me, when I did that, it was to honor their sacrifice, what they did for us, and the freedom that we now enjoy. And some people take it for granted these days, and it's sad. And to be quite honest, the war's brutal. I do wish I was of that time. Now people may disagree with me on that, and that's okay. But some days the world seems so divided that I would rather be of a time when this country is united under a single cause than a part of a country that is divided by political status. That's it. I'd rather be part of a unified country than a divided country. But for a reason that I do not know of, God had me born in this time. Maybe I'll never know. But He's got a reason for me being here, and I trust Him in that. I trust Him, even though sometimes the future is just uncertain or it's just scary. I trust Him fully, knowing that He has a plan for my life, whatever it may be. I will follow Him. I will continue to follow Him the best way that I can till the end of my days. So, that's my little tidbit there for you guys. History means so much to me. It was the first time I read a history book, it's about that thick. It's called The World Wars. I cannot remember the distributor's name. I can't remember. Dang it! If I had it down here, I'd show you it. But it's a really good book. It talks about World War I, World War II, the significant events, that is. An example, one part of the book talks about the deadlock of World War One. It touches on the the Oppenheimer project. What's it called? No, the Manhattan Project. I apologize. The Manhattan Project. It talks about that a little bit, and that's kind of what got me into history. Now, the one thing I will say is that the theater of operation that I really wanted to know more about was the Pacific Theater, because it was only touched on for a couple of pages. That's one of my favorite theaters. It's one of my favorite theaters that I don't look at that much. So I hope to do a little bit more reading sometime here. There's a really, really good book. If any of y'all have ever played it's an old game series. It came out in 1999. It was called Medal of Honor. And though there hasn't been any games since that VR game, but one of the games was called Medal of Honor Pacific Assault, a sequel to Allied Assault. And that game puts you in the boots of a Marine. Yeah, it opens with the assault on the island of Tarawa. It's kind of a almost I'm not it's like a tutorial in some senses, I want to say, but I don't know if I'd call it a tutorial. It's like something of a flashback. And it transitions to boot camp, to where your character, Thomas Conlon, is training to become a Marine. And then after that, it takes you directly to Pearl Harbor, the morning of December 7th, 1941, a day that shall live in infamy. And that game goes from the kind of the opening mission of Tarawa, takes you to boot camp, Marine boot camp. I think it said at Camp Pendleton. I could be wrong. It takes you to I can't remember. It takes you to island hopping. It's one of you're a raider, part of Carlson's Raiders. I cannot remember the friggin' island. It takes you from there to Guadalcanal. That's a long campaign when I first played it. You can maybe find the discs, or you can get it on GOG.com. It's got a couple of problems, but the game itself is still solid. Some not technical issues, but more like little bugs here and there. But it's a really, really good game. And from that, it takes you into a gunner's seat of an SBD Dauntless, to also flying the SBD Dauntless, and then to the island of Tarawa. I read a book on that. The book is called Tarawa. And that was in November. That was November 20th, I want to say 43. And it lasted for 3 days, from November 20th to November 23rd. And in total, we lost about 3,000 Marines, and that is an average of 1,000 men dying those 3 days. Now, the game only touches on, it could be just the initial assault, but the game itself is a really, really, really good game. Now, another game that does touch on the Pacific Theater is Rising Sun. Now, that game is just as good as Pacific Assault, because it is what's the word? It is grounded in it's got itself grounded in historical events. Um, Let me give you the one of the bigger plot points of that game is a Japanese. It's when the story the how history is told in this regard is that Japan was, if I'm someone if I'm wrong, please put it down in the comments. Is that Japan was running out of gold reserves to keep them in the war, and so in their conquest through Asia, they pillaged temples, anything they could get their hands on of gold, and it had the operation changed hands, and one of them was General Yamashita, and that gold, it's out there somewhere. You go looking online and you type in Yamashita's gold, and there is a plethora of things, and that gold is still out there somewhere. It has been hidden for well over 70 years. It is somewhere in Asia, in the jungles of Asia, as the story goes. And as the legend continues, is that when they left the gold, they left booby traps and special maps that only few people could read, and as far as we know, there's only been one person who's discovered the mine. Again, it could be true, it could be not, but the legend itself exists, and it's a very, very interesting piece of history. It's an unsolved mystery from the Pacific Theater of World War II. It's really, really great. You can go down a rabbit hole pretty quickly on that. I did that when I first finished the game. But again, the Pacific Theater is not talked about that much. We know so much more about the European theater than the Pacific Theater. That's another thing. Europe, uh, France, we know much more about. Thank you, Band of Brothers. The Pacific, we only get glimpses of in the series The Pacific. We don't know much about the Africa campaign. We don't know much about Italy campaign, just what we read in history books and whatnot and documentaries. But Europe, in terms of France, we know so much more about that, and probably even the Battle of the Ardennes, like from France all the way to Germany. We know much more about that than any other campaign in history. And yes, there are people who devote themselves to learning about the other campaigns, the Africa campaign, Italy campaign, all those other campaigns, but in the history books, not much of that is known. You can find it online, most definitely. That's one thing that makes history so fascinating. You could pick any place in history that you want to talk about. And the one thing that's sad is that there's not a lot of people, like even there's historians out there who will do this stuff, but again, the European theater, in terms of going from France to Germany, we know so much more about that. And when movies like Midway, those movies are, I want to say, a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing that rarely gets told. And funny enough, if y'all ever seen the movie Independence Day, directed by Roland Emmerich, great movie, really, really great movie. The movie Midway was directed by him. That's really, really cool. So even though some of his movies, what was it? The Patriot or something? It had Mel Gibson in it. I think it was The Patriot. I heard some people, and even the one guy who I mentioned, History Buffs, I believe his name was, who did his own review on the movie Midway, he said that the Patriot had, I think another one before that had its own problems in terms of historical accuracy. And I apologize that my camera's not down. I'm going to turn it down. So this is the timing cover right here. We just painted it all orange. But bring it up here. But this piece right here, that is going to be white. This piece right here is going to be white. But again, history is such a fascinating part, especially World War II history. Or even if you really, really want to, if you've got the niche, World War One. That war was very, very interesting. Just how new tactics were being developed. Just the whole game, when World War One came, the whole thing changed a lot. Like tanks were first brought to the scene. Trench warfare was something new. The rules changed, and it's amazing what can happen in wars when a new war is brought about. Just what can happen, what can change. It's really quite amazing. What kind of change, what the change can be. Some good, some bad, but the change itself is interesting. It changes warfare, aviation, in that matter. World War One. In the book, the War Wars, it talks about the invention of planes. How early in the war they were taking pot shots at each other with just revolvers and they had no parachutes. And I believe it was a British inventor, I think so, who created the mechanism on those biplanes to be able to fire. When they fired, it wouldn't go through the propeller, but it synced up. He synced it up to the propeller where when it fired, when the propeller was spinning, when it fired, it wouldn't hit the propeller, but rather go through it, because it was just a long piece of wood. Think of it like that way, long piece of wood. And it was designed up where when it fired, it wouldn't hit the propeller, but it would hit the enemy. And then it was captured. That plane was captured. There's many confirmed kills about that from that designer. And then it was captured by the Germans and then reworked. And their planes actually dominated. That's one notable figure in that part of history is the Red Baron. So many of you know who that is in history. Again, like I said, history is it's deep, it is fascinating, it is filled with many, many stories. And there are many more to tell, even just from individual soldiers, from their diaries, from their letters, from their interactions with other men, maybe their mentions in other letters, and anything. Just one soldier who made it through from the beginning to the end. That is one deep story right there. Just his experience, his time there, what he thought of everything. It's just what it was like. There are thousands upon thousands of stories from both World War One, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and even the wars after that, or even the events after those wars. So, I just want to leave you all with that. That's how important history is to me. So I just want to let you all know is that remember where our. I just want you all to understand. For a lot of people, not a lot, but I mean, say a minority, and even more than that. That's the one thing that's what history means to them. It is a big part of their life. And though this country is kind of whacked a little bit, our history is what is respected. I respect our history. I respect what the country did, what our country did, not just our country, our countrymen. Everything changed in World War II. Let's give you that example. Everything changed during World War II. Production. We became a powerhouse when it came to producing tanks, jeeps, airplanes, bombers, munitions. We were a powerhouse in those days. I think it was when it came to the Sherman tanks, I think it was every 20, 25 minutes, one Sherman rolled off the line. That's how much of a powerhouse we were. So, again, history is filled with timeless stories. It is endless. It is endless. Even when you think you got to the end of it, there's something else. So, I just want to leave y'all with that. Just be thankful. Let's all be thankful. Not only just be thankful in general, but be thankful for our fathers who are here. And though many did not come home, many did, although a lot did come home, many didn't. So let's remember our fathers. There's one verse that always stuck out to me. If any of you guys ever heard of the series Jonathan Park, I cannot remember the volume, but it was them, the characters going to Iwo Jima. And one verse that always stuck out to me was Deuteronomy 32:7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. I think that's how it goes. That verse always stuck out to me. I have it memorized right up here. I don't even need to read it from my Bible. It is memorized right up here. That's how much history it means to me. So, whenever those days come around, think of the men who died for our freedom, fought for it, came back. And whenever you see one out there, give them thanks. Because they won't be around for much longer. Let me give you another example of guys who are still here. Black Hawk Down. That was back in 1992, October 3rd, 1992. 8 plus 25, that was 32 years ago. No, 33 years ago. Some of those guys were in their teens, such as 19s. Some of those guys were 19 years old. 19 plus 30, let's go 30. That is 49. Add 3, 52. These guys are in their 50s. It's amazing how fast time can go by and how much even some of us forget. So, in light of all this, in summary, let's be thankful for our fathers, not only our fathers and our mothers, who do so much for us, even when we don't show it, or even they don't show it. They show it in many different ways. They may not show it in love. They may show it in teaching us, in showing us, in guiding us, in helping us. And there's so much that we don't give enough credit to them. And just want you all to be thankful. And even give thanks to your grandparents. I have one grandparent left on my mom's side. My grandfather passed away last year. So I want y'all to be thankful for that. I want y'all to be thankful for those of you who still have grandparents left. For your fathers, your mothers. Your grandparents, they taught your parents, and even my parents, many things. And they had the privilege and the opportunity to meet their grandchildren. And not only that, my grandma, before she died, she had the opportunity to see her great grandson. And that's probably something that doesn't happen that often, but that is something that sticks with me in my heart, that I am grateful that she was able to see her great grandson. And even though her great grandson won't remember that, a lot of us will. I will. So, with all that, happy Father's Day, even though it's not Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you all. God bless you all. And all that. Let's also thank God for the blessings that we have. We also forget the blessings we have. Let's thank our parents, our grandparents, and God for all the blessings that we have, for all that they have given us, and for the love they've shown us. For that, I want to say thank you to you all who are, however many of you tune in. God bless y'all, and I love you, and stay safe.